you all, and welcome to this webinar where we explore the Egyptian timber market, the trends, the outlook, and the effect of the market going forward based on current market dynamics. And as usual, this webinar is brought to you by Timber Exchange, your partner for tracking the global market and for automating your exports and B2B customer service. This week's guest is none other than Elshal's Timber very own, Mr. Ibrahim Elshal. But before we start the webinar, a small announcement. We want to apologize for being a bit away over the past few months and not having done so many webinars. But we've been very busy, and it's for your benefit, the audience, and the global timber market, which we really, really care about. Among others, we were invited and honored to speak at the Wood from Finland conference, presenting our market analysis for the MENA region. And shortly after that, we also had the honor to organize and moderate the first Dubai Wood Show Forum, which will also happen again next year. And I can promise you, it will be much, much bigger. So get ready for that. And some of you might know me, some of you might not, but for the past decade, I have been writing, and we have been writing market reports, actually. And since then, we have been on a mission to improve this industry and to help it become more efficient and more transparent. Because we believe that transparency reduces volatility, something that we're certainly very tired of at this point. And we believe that with automation, we can work proactively instead of reactively. And this webinar is a perfect example of why we do what we do. It's to spread ideas, insights, and analysis in a modern and fresh way, so that you, the audience, can hear firsthand from market leaders around the world what is actually happening. And today, I am the CEO and founder of Timber Exchange, which is the most comprehensive timber market tracker and the world's smartest supply chain automation system. And we're very proud that many of the world's largest sawmills are actually our customers. And we track data on a market level, regional level, and even on a global level. For example, what is global production this month? What is global inventory this month? What is the global average price this month? Things that definitely affect our market. And for example, what is the inventory in Tokyo, Shanghai, or Egypt? Things that definitely have a big impact on supply, demand, and of course, market outlook. And some of the things that we track, for example, are how much timber is being shipped to Egypt, or how much timber is being shipped to China. But we don't only do that, because the timber industry is going global, and there's new regulations from the United Nations with smart documents and electronic documents, especially. Those of you working with Egypt are certainly familiar with Cargo X. And these new technologies and these new regulations are a catalyst for change. And what we're going to see going forward is that these smart technologies are going to converge. They're going to come together. Electronic documents, smart contracts, shipment tracking, collaboration, and to merge these and automate processes between them. And really, what this leads to is better pricing, but also reducing the workload significantly, thanks to streamlining everything and automating the full process from inquiry until final delivery. And this type of technology, it's available in a private environment. You can put a login button on your website, which you control, that is only for you, your customers, your suppliers, your freight forwarders. And now, without further ado, a warm welcome to Mr. Ibrahim Elshal. How are you today, Mr. Ibrahim? Great to
How are you,
Thank
Amir?
you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for your kind invitation. I'm really glad and honored to be with you today.
It's our absolute pleasure. Egypt is one of the most important markets, and you are one of the best analysts in the market, or as analysts in the market. So your opinion is
Thank
very,
you.
very important. So
Yeah,
for those that don't know,
you are so humble. Let me say, you are so humble. Actually, you are the best in this field. Actually, I'm feeling even embarrassed to talk about Egypt with you because you have much more experience.
you're very kind, but I'm not in the market in the same way as you.
Okay.
So you definitely have a better pulse. So for those that don't know you, can you please introduce yourself and Elshal Timber?
To introduce myself, I'm Ibrahim Elshal. I'm almost 42 years old now. I'm in this business, in the timber business, for more than 25 years. Actually, even since I was like 10, 12 years, I was in my father business. I was spending most of summers with my father business, traveling in our yard. A couple of summers, my father sending me to like furniture factories. Other summers in doors and windows factories, and to have more and more experience. So you can say that I'm in this industry from the beginning of my life until today. I studied architecture. I have a bachelor degree in architecture, and during the faculty years, I was more focusing on the business development of our company. So right now I'm not working, of course, in architecture or or engineering. I'm still in the timber business. So it's this is just a quick information or about my background. We are and about, if you talk about the Elshal Timber, we are a family company, and as I told you, since faculty years, I was thinking about the developing of the business of our family business. And just after graduation, I started traveling all over the world in the most of the regions, exporting sawn softwood, especially. So starting from North American market, Quebec, British Columbia, then to the Central Europe, Scandinavia, Baltic, the Siberian forest. I was enjoying the business. I was enjoying developing the business. I'm a bit passionate about traveling and seeing how the business is done from different perspective and different areas in the world. And about Elshal Timber actually is not a big company. We are working in timber importing, specifically softwood and plywood. And we are not, I cannot say that we are one of the big 5 or big 10 importers in the Egyptian market. We are a family company. And since we are talking about timber, I would say that we are a slow growing company, slow growing, but steady. We work only with our own capital, our own family capital, and we enjoy the business. That's what I say.
Super, super interesting indeed. And before we jump in to the very important questions of how the Egyptian timber market is performing today, in general, how big is the Egyptian timber market? How does it work, and what are the most popular products?
How big? Answering this question, of course, if you take a look at the statistics and see the global imports, for example, you will not see Egypt as a huge comparing to other, because if we look at the global timber import, I think that Egypt in the best cases, if we back to 2015, when Egypt imported about 5.1 million cubic meter of softwood, at this time it was something like 4.7, 4.5 of the global import. But if we take a look a little bit, if we do a zoom in to our region, the MENA region, so we can split, we can compare Egypt to the North African region. So in this case, Egypt, of course, is a big player in the MENA region at all, but as a whole. But regarding to North African market, Egypt is about 2/3 of the market, usually from 60%, 65%. In this range during the last, I would say, 7 years, 10 years. About 65% of North African market. And if we compare with the Middle Eastern countries, about 9, 10 countries in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, so all the Middle East countries. So Egypt actually is the volume of softwood imported to Egypt exceeding all the Middle East countries. So this is just a quick overview to give the audience an idea how to compare Egypt, because some people in the timber industry looking to Egypt only comparing to the global imports. In this case, it's not. It will not look huge, of course, because there is some business and trading channels which much away from Egypt, like the North American market, and this is a huge import happening between Canada and US, as you know. So comparing Egypt in the global import will not show Egypt as it is. As I mentioned, the peak of the softwood import were in 2015. 5.1 million, and after this Egypt was importing something between the 3 million and 4 million, 4.3 million cubic meter in this range. I believe the lowest year were the lowest year, as I remember, just a moment, 2021, I think. Yes, 2021, as I believe. Yeah, 2021, something like 3.1, 3.2 million cubic meter. Then it's going up again between the 3.5, 4 million cubic meter right now of softwood, of course.
3 million cubic meters during COVID is not very bad, actually.
Of course, but some of our friends just looking at the global imports percentage. In this case, it will not look huge. But as I told you, Egypt is more than all the Middle Eastern country, importing softwood more than all the Middle Eastern country.
What are the most popular dimensions and qualities in Egypt?
Dimensions. The most popular, I think, if we would talk about the long-term stable sizes or items needed or demanded in the Egyptian market, so we can say start with filaries, which is a 1x log. It must be 1x log cut square, like 75 by 75, 90 by 90, 100 by 100, 70 by 90, 1x log. It's a very traditional item needed in the Egyptian market for more than 4 or 5 decades. Of course, it's losing, I will not say volume, it's losing market share to the metal scaffolding, because the filary is 1x log used usually in concrete forming, scaffolding, and some economy roofing. So scaffolding is getting more and more to transfer to the metal scaffolding, but still the 1x log filary is keeping its share in the concrete forming and roofing, economy roofing. So filaries is one of the most popular Another thing is the framing, the window and door framing. And here, yes, by the way, I would like to the audience that for their first time to hear about Egyptian market, I just want to say and want to spot on that Egypt is not doing is not using the softwood or the timber generally as a main construction element. It's not like Europe, it's not like UK, it's not like Japan or European building. Actually, we even don't have codes for building with wood in Egypt. We don't have codes. We don't have laws or regulation for this. So we are not using the timber in Egypt for column, for beams. It's not like other countries. Egypt is unique in this because most of friends, when they know about the volumes imported to Egypt, they think that Egypt building with wood. No, usually when we say framing, I don't mean the framing in UK term. So it's car casing, C16, C24. No, it's we mean the door and window framing. So for the doors and windows framing, there is a very popular size, which is 50 by 150 that I think that you also use as a bar or a standard in your platform, Timber Exchange, because it's really, yes, it should be used as this because it's a very popular for windows and door framing. Also, another size is the 25 by 100, which usually used also for concrete forming, shuttering. Of course, it's losing share also for the plywood, for the shuttering plywood, but it's compensated. As you know, Egypt is a very growing population. So yes, there is a market share lose for the plywood in concrete forming, but Egypt still actively buying the 25 by 100 sideboard. Here we talk about sideboard because it could not be center cut or in this case. I'm talking about using for the concrete forming. It should be sideboard and mainly redwood, mainly pine. It could be accepted in different grades. For redwood, as you know, it's Egypt accepting all grades from the highest grades to the lowest grade. From the unsorted grade, if we're talking about Scandinavian grading system, from unsorted to the shell board or shell, export shell and domestic shell. It's a matter of price, but Egypt use everything. I don't know if I missed any other popular sizes, but usually your question was about the bubbler. So I think that you are keeping another question about the most demanded now, right? Or you mean, or you need me? Okay, so about the bubbler and the long-term sizes, these are what I mentioned.
Very, very interesting indeed. And what are traditionally the top sectors in Egypt? And how have they been, and how are they expected to continue performing?
Sectors, you mean sectors of consumption, right?
Yes, could be construction, furniture, pallets.
Yes, construction, of course, construction. But when we say construction, as I said before, we don't mean columns, beams, and framing in the European term or in this term. For when we say construction, we mean used in concrete forming, some in scaffolding, of course. Also a very evolving sector is the pallets and packaging sector. Also the blockboard factories during the last 10-15 years still evolving in Egypt. Also the furniture, of course, is a main use, is a main sector. If we are talking about doors and windows, of course it's still, but it's I would say that during the last 6-7 years and since the government start regulating the housing sector and controlling the housing sector, most of the projects now are using PVC or aluminum for windows, and also for doors here use the ready-made doors, which actually the softwood components percentage is less than before in it. But of course, it's still doors and windows is a very big sector in Egyptian market. But I would say that it lose a big share comparing, if we say, getting back to 10 years ago, 2013. 2013, I believe that this was the biggest sector in Egyptian market, doors and windows. But now it's not.
So let's start, for example, with construction. How is construction expected to continue over the coming year, do you think?
Construction market and the housing market, you mean, right? Usually it's concerned. It's still the same as before. Egyptian government is still interested in mega project, is still interested in continuing the infrastructure project, and of course the new capital, the construction in the new capital underway, and I would say that it's still active. And of course, after what happened, the ease in the foreign exchange crisis last March, I mean March this year, March 24. Now we are about to start in Egypt even new projects, new housing projects, new projects related to the tourism. So I believe